Welcome to the 15th part of the Rapid series, where we discuss all the important current affairs targeting the prelims of 2022. So, let's begin with today's session. The first topic that we are going to discuss is about the Conference of Parties to the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity. So, the Conference of Parties took place for this, and it was the first part of the 15th such meeting, 15th such COP, and this was held in Kunming, China. Okay, so this was the news, and this year's conference particularly was organized to adopt the post 2020 global biodiversity framework. So इस framework को adopt करने के लिए this 15th meeting of the COP was organized, the COP to United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity, and this new framework will replace and update the strategic plan for biodiversity that was in place from 2011 to 2020. So earlier जो हमारे पास existing plan था, that was this strategic plan for biodiversity that is from 2011 to 2020. ठीक है, अब उसको update करने के लिए because the time period has is already over, so इसको update करने के लिए this conference of parties were to discuss and were to adopt this new 2020 global biodiversity framework. और इसका मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव है is to develop and adopt a post 2020 framework, and जो हमारा अचीव बायोडाइवर्सिटी टारगेट है उसको टेक फॉरवर्ड कर सके. सो 2011 से 2020 का जो हमारे पास स्ट्रेटेजिक प्लान था that was actually a part of the achieve biodiversity target. So now that the time period is over, to take it further and to build upon it, another update has to be planned, and that update would be 2020 post 2020 global biodiversity framework. Or the first draft of this was released in July 2021, and it contained 21 targets for 2030 and 4 goals to be achieved. ठीक है, so जो इसका फर्स्ट पार्ट है इस ड्राफ्ट का that was released last year in July में, जिसमें 21 टारगेट्स थे और 4 गोल्स था. द टारगेट ईयर वाज 2030. ठीक है, so this was about this news. The next is the World Heritage Forest. So UNESCO, World Resources Institute, and International Union for Conservation of Nature. So IUCN, WRI, and UNESCO has released this report that is for the first time giving the scientific assessment of the greenhouse gases which is sequestered by the forest in the by the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So दुनिया में जितने भी यूनेस्को के वर्ल्ड हेरिटेज साइट्स हैं उनमें जो फॉरेस्ट है उन फॉरेस्ट में कितना CO2 कितना CO2 सिक्वेस्टर हो रहा है. सिक्वेस्टर एज इन we all know that in the process of photosynthesis plant takes CO2. So in doing so, they are actually doing the work of the pump which is taking away CO2 from the environment and taking that into it. So the trees are taking the CO2 from the environment and absorbing it, utilizing it for their own photosynthesis purpose. So in that process, it is actually taking away CO2 from the atmosphere, which is good for the atmosphere in terms of reducing the global warming. So this process is called sequestration. Okay, to take the CO2 from the atmosphere through some or the other means, and in this particular case through the trees. So different forests which fall in the UNESCO World Heritage Sites globally, so in forest से कितना sequestration होता है, इससे related पहली बार ऐसा report publish किया गया to show how much of CO2 or how much of such carbon is stored or sequestered, and the report was released by UNESCO, WRI, and IUCN. And some key point that came from this report is कि सबसे ज़्यादा जो कार्बन है that is stored, that is sequestered by the forest in the tropical sites. ठीक है, so tropical sites में जो forest है उनका जितना absorption है CO2 का that is the maximum in the world. और इंडिया में जो सुंदरबन नेशनल पार्क है that is among the 5 sites that have the highest blue carbon stock globally. ठीक है, so blue carbon stock is nothing but the carbon stock that is taken by the ocean and the carbon stock that is taken by the water bodies. So in terms of that, जो इंडिया का सुंदरबन नेशनल पार्क है वहाँ पे जो कार्बन का सिक्वेस्ट्रेशन होता है that is among top 5 in the world. So this is about this topic. Then Global Coral Reef Monitoring Network. So Global Coral Reef Monitoring Network, that is GCRMN was in news because it has released the sixth status of corals of the world. ये रिपोर्ट रिलीज हुआ है और इस रिपोर्ट को ग्लोबल कोरल रीफ मॉनिटरिंग नेटवर्क ने रिलीज किया है. ठीक है. So this report has given few facts about the coral reef, and some of them are the report stated that 14% of the coral reefs are lost since 2010. 2010 से लेकर रिपोर्ट के असेसमेंट पीरियड तक 14% coral reefs का लॉस हो चुका है. ठीक है. So this is the main point from this report. Now about this institution, about the coral reef monitoring network, is that it is an operational network of the International Coral Reef Initiative. So the original parent organization or initiative is the International Coral Reef Initiative, और उसका जो operational arm है या operational body है, that is called Global Coral Reef Monitoring Network. ठीक है. So इसका जो main purpose है is to give such assessment, conduct studies and provide the scientific information to the community, to the world communities to take relevant actions. ठीक है. तो ये बेसिकली कोरल रीफ से रिलेटेड साइंटिफिक असेसमेंट करती है एंड दे गिव द आउटपुट, एंड दिस इज डन अंडर द इंटरनेशनल कोरल रीफ इनिशिएटिव, and the operational arm of this initiative is nothing but this global coral reef monitoring network. Okay, so this is a body. This entire network is nothing but the network of scientists, managers, organizations, all those expert bodies and interested bodies who are proactively involved in the assessment of the coral reefs and their improvement. Okay, so this is just a network of those related personalities. जो ग्लोबल डेटा सेट है जो इस रिपोर्ट में रिलीज हुआ है, दैट इज स्पैनिंग ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ 40 years, दैट इज फ्रॉम 1978 से 2019 तक. एंड जो जितने भी अभी तक के जितने भी असेसमेंट हुए हैं वो उन सबको मिला के दे कवर द 40 years ऑफ असेसमेंट, और they cover around 73 reef bearing countries around the world. So across 73 countries में and over the span of 40 years का database is held by this particular initiative or organization. Next is the greenhouse gas bulletin. So this is released by, first thing that you need to understand or need to know is World Meteorological Organization ने इस particular bulletin को release किया है. ठीक है, that is one thing. इसमें बेसिकली ये बताया जाता है कि अलग अलग ग्रीन हाउस का कितना इंक्रीमेंट हुआ, वो कितना ज़्यादा उनका प्रोडक्शन हुआ है कंपेयर टू द प्रीवियस लेवल्स. सो दैट इज रिलीज्ड इन दिस बुलेटिन एंड दिस इज रिलीज्ड बाय वर्ल्ड मेट्रोलॉजिकल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. सो कंसंट्रेशन ऑफ CO2, the most important greenhouse gas, has reached 413.2 parts per million in 2020. And this is an increase of 149% of the pre-industrial level. So 2020 में ये जितना पहुंच गया है CO2 का emission, that is an increase of 149% from the pre-industrial level. So the baseline is pre-industrial level. Then that is for CO2. Similarly, जो मीथेन का इंक्रीज हुआ है एमिशन में, that is 262%, and नाइट्रोजन ऑक्साइड का जो रिलीज हुआ है that is 123%. अच्छा, अभी यूपीएससी में क्वेश्चन दे मे नॉट आस्क यू डायरेक्टली कि कितना परसेंटेज ऑफ इंक्रीज हुआ है, दे वोंट गिव इट इन द ऑप्शन मोस्ट पॉसिबली कि 123% और 150%, बट येस दे कैन आस्क कि सबसे ज़्यादा इंक्रीज किस में हुआ है, या फिर टू अरेंज इट इन डिक्रीजिंग और इंक्रीजिंग ऑर्डर इन टर्म्स ऑफ देयर इंक्रीज of emission. So there you need to know कि सबसे ज़्यादा मीथेन में हुआ है, then comes nitrogen oxide and then comes CO2. So this is how you need to understand the pattern. Okay. Also another finding is जो radiative forcing है, that has increased by 47% over the period of 1990 to 2020. So इस period में, इस particular period में, which is almost 30 years, इसमें जो रेडिएटिव फोर्सिंग है उसका 47% इंक्रीज हुआ है. नाउ व्हाट इज रेडिएटिव फोर्सिंग? सो जो वार्मिंग इफेक्ट है हमारे क्लाइमेट पे इन ग्रीन हाउस गैसेज का, so in very simple terms, greenhouse gases result in warming of the climate. So this warming of the climate is measured through the unit of radiative forcing, the overall impact of these gases on the climate of our atmosphere. So that has increased by 47%. और इसमें सबसे ज़्यादा contribution, that is 80% of contribution for this increase is because of CO2. Okay, so this is another finding. सो जो भी ये डेटा या बुलेटिन रिलीज होता है बाय WMO, दैट इज बेस्ड ऑन द मॉनिटरिंग of the WMS Global Atmosphere Watch Network. So there is a network of such observations, observating such agencies for observation. So through the observation of such networks, these data are captured and they are released, and then finally the bulletin is prepared. The next topic is CRISP-M. So, two ministries, Union Ministries of Rural Development and second is Panchayati Raj. So, इन दोनों ministries ने jointly announce किया है Climate Resilience Information System and Planning Tool, which is in short called CRISP-M tool. So, सबसे पहले क्या याद रखना है, CRISP-M is related to climate resilience and information system, related to something climate change and related to the information system of climate change. तो ये सबसे पहला important fact जो आपको याद रखना है. Next, what is the purpose is it helps in the integration of climate information in geographical information system. So GIS based platform पर जितने भी डेटा है, जितने भी इंफॉर्मेशन है, उसको इंटीग्रेट करके इट हेल्प्स इन वाटरशेड प्लानिंग. वाटरशेड इज बेसिकली एन एरिया जिसमें जहाँ से भी वाटर के सोर्स आ रहे हैं या फिर थ्रू रिवर्स और थ्रू एनी अदर चैनल्स, दे आर ऑल coming to the same area. They are all flowing to the same area through the same basin. So that area, that particular geographical feature is called watershed. So इसके proper planning is important because climate change की वजह से बहुत सारे events हो रहे हैं like droughts and extreme floods, flash floods, urban floods. So इन सब को manage करने के लिए watershed level पे management is important, and for that data is needed. And to get that data, to get that integrated data, this particular tool was launched by Ministry of Rural Development and Panchayati Raj jointly. Okay, and this entire thing is developed under the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, that is Manrega. So इसके अंदर ही ये हुआ है because watershed planning is normally done under as one of the activities under Manrega, and then uh, to do the watershed planning with the help of the information system, this particular tool was developed. और इस टूल से जो वाटरशेड प्लानिंग का डेवलपमेंट होगा या मॉनिटरिंग होगा, दैट विल बी डन इन 7 states. और these 7 states are those जहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट ऑफ यूके एंड इंडिया आर ज्वाइंटली वर्किंग ऑलरेडी फॉर क्लाइमेट रेजिलियंस. सो ऑलरेडी गवर्नमेंट ऑफ यूके एंड इंडिया ज्वाइंटली काम कर रही है 7 states में फॉर क्लाइमेट रेजिलियंस, और उन्हीं 7 states में इस टूल का यूज किया जाएगा. ठीक है, सो वो 7 states क्या है? बिहार, झारखंड, उत्तर प्रदेश, मध्य प्रदेश, छत्तीसगढ़, उड़ीसा, राजस्थान. So you just roughly remember these states, not very difficult to remember. So this is about this particular topic, and this is it for today's session. So we'll meet in our next video with a set of new topics which are important for prelims. Till then, keep studying and keep revising your concepts. All the best.